24 minutes to 11, and we are about to enter the mysterious world of the bureaucracy, red tape, and Shane Bowering. How are you, mate?
G'day, mate. How are you?
Not suggesting your world's mysterious, but
it's a bit mysterious at times, let me tell you.
Some of the things the bureaucrats do are a bit mysterious, I'd say.
Oh, well, you can't work them out, can you?
Well,
and I used to work in there, and I still can't work them out. So, if I can't work them out, it's pretty hard for anybody else to work them out.
13 13 32, our number. Shane is from Red Tape Busters, and he's an expert at getting through the red tape, the bureaucracy, the things that the rest of us find absolutely infuriating.
The nonsense. That's what I call it. It's nonsense.
It's very good.
They come up with nonsense.
It's very good. I was reminded by the first story we're going to talk about today of someone who I know of, in fact I knew, who drove regularly on the Gateway in the days when there were toll collectors there. And you had, all the manual collectors, or you had a lane for automatic.
Yeah, that could just go straight through.
Exactly right.
Yep.
And she couldn't figure out why she kept getting heaps and heaps of fines from the toll mob because she hadn't paid a fine. And someone said to her, well, what are you doing? She said, well, I'm driving an automatic car, so I'm going through the automatic. She thought if you had a manual, you went through the manual, and an automatic through the...
Mate, was she blonde?
Yeah.
Well, not that they correlate. Not that they correlate.
They
don't. No,
I'm
not suggesting that at all. It's just a rhetorical question.
Yes, absolutely. We're getting dirty looks from outside.
Yeah,
there
we'll be stabbed soon.
Now, this one concerns, this is a little win you had.
Yes.
Concerns just that, fines that relate to tolls.
Yeah, we've talked about it previously, and we had a listener call in, and she had two fines, and she had one through Queensland Motorways and one through Flow Toll.
Yep.
And what had happened was she'd sold the vehicle a long time ago.
Where did she get the fines for going through where?
Yeah, no, she didn't. She didn't.
But the car,
the vehicle that she sold with the plates on has gone through. And
the Clem or somewhere?
Yeah, it was the Clem, I think, and also the Gateway.
Yep.
So anyway, the first one we got off, which was Queensland Motorways, she'd send in a stat deck saying, "Hey, I've sold it. That's how it is. You got to let me off." And they got back to her and said, "Tough luck. No way, we're not letting you off." And so did the Clem as well. Said no way. She got on to us through our segment here. And so I said, look, I think we'll be able to get you off. It shouldn't be a drama. So I contacted Queensland Motorways. Eventually they got back to us and said, yeah, look, she's done the wrong thing by leaving the plates on, which she did, absolutely. And I've said that to her. She's done the wrong thing.
Yeah.
However, they let her off and said, yep, no dramas. We updated listeners a couple of weeks ago, I think, saying we still had one in consideration. They've now got back to us and said that that's been rescinded as well. So fines are gone. Let me give a kudos to the Lord Mayor's office too. We have some debates with the Lord Mayor's office about, development previously and whatever, but I'm always very vocal with the Mayor's office. They are fantastic in investigating things like this for us. I don't think we've had one so far that I've sent through that hasn't been rescinded because I will only take on things where I think that needs to be rescinded. That's it, where it's gone wrong. Yep. So the Lord Mayor's office, thank you as always. Fantastic. They're very responsive. Takes a little while for them to investigate and get back, but they always do, and they do a great job.
And a nice letter from the Lord Mayor as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks very much. And so that's another win for us.
Well done, mate. 13 13 32, a number if there's something you can think Shane might be able to help with. Tolls are in the news, aren't they?
It was an interesting story this morning.
The case of a woman who got a couple of fines, $42 worth, turned out to cost her a fortune. Tell us the story.
Yeah, basically what's happened, from what I understand, she's gone over the tolls a number of times, and she had an automatic top-up account with the toll company, so a credit card was linked. However, then the credit card was lost, I think, which must have then cancelled the automatic top-up. She's then forgotten, and she's just kept using the tollway, and basically then she was, out of credit. There was nothing there, and so they've sent her saying, apparently sent her saying, you owe this money. Now, whether she didn't get it or she ignored it, I can't really work out from the story, but in the end, it's cost her $2,000 all up. From a $42 worth of tolls, it's cost her $2,000.
Wow.
And that comes back to to me, she needed to be a bit more considerate in making sure they had the right details, but even then they reckon they've contacted her many times, and as I said, I don't know from the story whether those contacts were ignored or the lady involved just went, oh, too bad. I couldn't imagine that, but anyway, it's now up to $2,000 because it's gone to State Penalty Enforcement Register, which have hit her with $165, I think, per per fine
Per incident,
that wasn't
yeah.
paid. That's right. Just ridiculous. Like, how can the management of it be $165? You know, to me, that's ludicrous. And, you know, surely I would have hoped that somebody in government or council would have intervened here and said, hey, well, look, you know, it is $2,000. However, your fines were $42.70. So how about we come to an arrangement of X, something reduced.
I mean, the whole area of tolls is a mystery to me. In 2013, there were more than $33 million in unpaid fees and fines for the Clem 7 and the Go-Between
It's huge,
Bridge.
isn't it? It's massive.
Now, how can that happen?
Oh, it's massive. Now, obviously, some people are just avoiding, and then, you know, some people, you know, might have wrong plates on or whatever, and so you can't, or stolen vehicles, so you can't identify. There's also, obviously, a lot of people out there who, you know, make mistakes, but there's also some that I'm finding, you know, and we've found through the Lord Mayor's office that are clearly issued wrongly.
Yeah.
That it's just an error. It's an error on behalf of either the consumer or from the tolling company. And look, I've had ones before where the digit was read incorrectly on the number plate, and the person has been then hit with a toll and then fined. And I've had to go back to Queensland Motorways and say, hey, that's the wrong number plate. You've read a digit wrong.
Yeah.
You know, which is a bit ridiculous. You know, should be pretty much automated. You would have thought.
You would have thought. Hello, Pat.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah,
Hey,
very
Pat,
well.
how are you?
Oh, Shane, is it?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I just wanted to talk to you about your initial story. I've got loads of Queensland motorway stories, and I won't go into all of them, but they're all positive. I did sell a car. I'm not sure if that lady you initially first talking about sold an unregistered car, but I sold my registered car, and of course the plates remain on it, and
That's
that
right.
particular person didn't transfer it over. You've always got to assume that they do, but some people don't.
Yes.
And they accepted off me the receipt of when I sold the vehicle.
Yep.
And that I got fines for that car as well.
Yeah, and it's good that you kept your documents, because it's really important. And with a transfer, normally you should keep the your seller's copy of the transfer form and your seller's copy of the roadworthy, because then if anything falls over down the track, you've got a record to go to Queensland Transport and say, hey, I sold this is gone.
That is so true, and I think the public out there also needs to know that a lot of people I've run into, especially older people, are under the impression that the device you attach to your car is at a cost, and I think everybody should have one, whether they, no matter if they go through tolls or not, because that would make everything so much easier.
It does.
It's free to get.
Yeah, it makes it so easy, and it's really important, because people just don't think. And I know a couple of young fellows who, you know, what we just talked about of the unpaids, they just don't care, because it just goes to spur then, and then they just go, oh, we'll pay it off at $1.50 a week for the next 1,000 weeks,
if they can find me.
Well, that's exactly right.
Exactly, and the paperwork involves dreadful. I used to work in a company like that, and if people just did that, the chase-ups and everything and the write-offs is incredible. And one more thing I was going to say too about the devices. When you have a device on a vehicle, it's only, as you would know, it's specific to that vehicle. So if you return it after you've sold a car, you're wiped off.
Yeah, no,
okay.
That's right, and it's actually something that I've just been pondering on, because I've just bought an old Jag, and it doesn't have a little tag, and I've taken the tag out of my Commodore, and I raced to the post office this morning. It's very opportune. I raced to the post office this morning thinking, I wonder if I've been fined, you know. Yeah. So, and I haven't got one yet, but it just reminds me that Monday I've got to ring up and add it to the list of vehicles and maybe get a tag for it as well.
I think it's worse if you take it off a heavy vehicle and put it in a car.
Yeah,
to save money, then you'll get a fine saying this vehicle is not registered to be on a toll.
Yeah, no, exactly. So no, it's very, very good advice. But yeah, keep your receipts and especially if you sell a vehicle, keep your records so that anything blows up down the track, you've got something to come back on. Good on you, Pat.
Yeah, well, I know now. Just in closing, that I transfer vehicles to the person I sell them to.
Yep.
Yeah, do it yourself.
Again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Good on you, Pat. Thanks for the info.
Thank you.
See ya. Yes, it's a curious mentality, I must say, in relation to the way some things operate in this town. And I spoke a little bit about it a couple of weeks ago, Shane, when there was the story around saying that police are now not going to stop a car that's unregistered and issue a fine. They're going to send it to the owner's address. This was something that's been introduced through the Transport Department, which says to me that someone in there has absolutely no idea of how the real world works.
Exactly.
Because there are thousands of unregistered cars, thousands of uninsured cars driving around out there. And I'm sure each time that happens, the people say, well, I must change my address on the official form so the police know where to send the fine to me.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, and it comes back to the one really important aspect here is to not forget, if you're selling it unregistered, to make sure that you take your number plates off and hand them in. So sell the vehicle unregistered. If it doesn't have number plates, then, you know, and somebody jams some number plates on, that's their issue. But yeah, make sure you take those number plates.
Time yet, but it feels like it. Talking with Shane Bowering from Red Tape Busters. Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning.
G'day, Patrick. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
What
The whole concept of these tolls being run by private companies and private companies issuing fines that are 42. The idea that a $40+ fine can end up $2,000. I think I just don't like the whole idea.
It's tough to work out how it gets like that, isn't it?
Yeah, and the fact that it can, without any right of appeal or anything else, I think we've got to look at it. I'm worried about our democracy. I really am.
It is. It's a challenge. And you know, with the right of appeal, that's where, you know, I don't know what this young lady's done from the story in the paper, but I would have certainly been, you know, if it was me or it was somebody that I was working for, I'd be certainly lobbying the government and the council to come to an agreement where, because as I said, a lot of that $2,000 is $165 per fine for the State Penalty Enforcement Register, which is state government. So I'd be looking at lobbying the minister, which is probably the Attorney General, I'm gathering, to say, hey, look, you know, this is an oversight. Yep, she's done the wrong thing, and see if you can negotiate a lower payment. You know, you might not get away with the $43.70 or whatever, or $42.70, but you might be able to say, look, you know, hey, I'll pay a couple of $100 in fines because it was, you know, my silly mistake, but $2,000 is ridiculous. So, yeah, there's an issue, I suppose, with the ownership of the tollways, and I don't probably have an issue that they're privately owned, but yeah, I certainly agree with you, Patrick, that, you know, we need to be very careful about, you know, how fines are issued and then your ability to be able to challenge those.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good on you, Pat.
Good on you,
thanks,
mate. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, mate. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are curious as to how something like that happens. But as I said before, you know, the whole issue of tolls in this town is kind of weird. But it's good advice one of our callers had before is to get a card, get a little thing that registers. So because we're getting more of them, we're going to have a legacy tunnel.
Absolutely, they're going to be everywhere. And one of the things that, and one of our listeners was very adamant about this, and I think they've had a bit of a win, was they contacted me about why aren't there signs up anymore saying what the price is before you go into the tollway, and they were very adamant about the fact that they believe that it breached the competition consumer policy protocols because there was no ability for you to be able to be told before you entered what you were going to be charged, so that then you had to literally agree that there's the fees you've gone through, so you must have agreed that you wanted to pay that. And from my understanding, I've got a feeling that I read somewhere that the government is now going to reintroduce the fact that signs with the prices are going to be back up. I'll chase that down for next week, I think. I'm pretty sure that's there.
They have to be far enough away so you have an alternative.
Exactly.
If you don't want to go through, you can get off.
Exactly, because what they used to do was put them up, remember, at the toll booth.
Too late.
You know, you need to be able to, before the last exit, there should be a sign up saying this is what it's going to cost if you proceed, so that if you don't want to proceed, then you can take a detour. And yeah, one of our listeners was very good because he was very vigilant and he hammered the ACCC, he hammered government, federal, state. He'd email me and copy me in on everything, and he did a great job. Fantastic. And I'll chase that down for next week because I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen.
Right, nearly done for time today, but there was something you wanted to mention in relation to banking and keypads.
Yeah,
from
that's
one of our
right. Yeah,
listeners?
we had one of our listeners who had a site right issue, and with the new tag and go type things, and
Yes,
with
your credit card.
Yeah,
Just
that's
tap it
right.
and-
Yeah, that's right. There were some issues there with people who had a hearing issue, and because she can't see the keys, and there's a few other things there. So I just wanted to say I'm still looking into it. I've sent
Right.
it off to the Ombudsman for a comment, and I've also sent it off to the banks for a comment. I'm waiting for them to get back to us, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have an answer.
Good stuff. All right, mate. And you must be feeling a little bit lost this weekend. No Manly.
Yeah, mate. No Manly this weekend. No rugby league really, except for City Country. So yeah, I won't be really taking much of a look at that. But I think I might replay the '78 grand final, Manly and Sharks. I think this afternoon.
Yeah, hopeless. All right, mate. Good to talk as always.
Good on you, mate.
Good to see you.
Thank
Take
you. Good on you.
Shane Bowering for Red Tape Busters will be in next Sunday morning again at the same time. So if you've got something you'd like to talk to him about, that's the shot. It is that time when if you've had problems with the bureaucracy, finding a way through the red tape, battling City Hall, the man who can help you is here, Shane Bowering from
G'day, Chris.
Red Tape Busters. Morning.
How are you, mate?
I'm well.
Good to have you back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yeah, it was good. The first time I've met Kim, so it was really nice. But no, it's good to have you back.
Good on you. Now, plenty happening around the place. I think you had a little win.
Yeah, we did actually. So hopefully listeners might remember we had a caller a few weeks ago who had a number plate, or her daughter did.
A personalised plate.
That's right, personalised plate. It was XMY 455.
Yeah.
So supposedly kiss my bleep.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so Transport had written to her and said, written to the daughter and said, look, somebody's complained, they found it offensive, we're now basically going to ask you to return the number plate, and you need to give us some reasons as to why. And and I thought that was really strange, because I didn't find it, I don't think anybody would really find it offensive, it's just one of those things. And so she...
You have to be actually very good to turn that into anything.
Well, it is, because initially when she'd contacted me as well, and initially when I looked at it, I thought, I don't understand what it is. And then finally the penny dropped, and I thought, oh, wow. So anyway, she contacted me, and we managed to put a letter back to Transport Department. I helped her craft a letter, casting aspersions on all the other 455 number plates, and are they going to then rescind all of the personalised plates with 455, and all of the other ones that could be slightly construed as being offensive by anybody.
Oh, I've seen plenty that are more offensive than that.
Oh, well, that's the thing, and the thing is that it was one member of the public who made a complaint, and if you underwrite to information, if you were to ask as to who that person was, you're never going to find out. So it's just one person. So anyway, so we wrote in, and it's came back that the department have said, hey, we've had to act on that complaint, but you've put a good case forward back to us, and you're now able to keep those number plates, which was always going to happen. There was no way that they were going to have to return those number plates. But why would the department write out, and the letter was basically saying, you've got to return them. So it was a pretty heavy-handed letter. You've got to return them. This is how it is.
Okay. Well, good work.
Yeah, so no, it was again, a funny little case, another strange little thing of who would have envisaged or would have got involved in number plate issues, but it's all good, so we had a win, so it's great. Fantastic.
So 13 to the number if you've got something that you think Shane might be able to help with. A few things that have come up this week that are, I guess, potential issues in your area. I spoke with a security guy yesterday about one of them, and that's this plan by the police to tap into home security systems to try and gain info on a crime that may have happened in the area. In other words, 20 cameras are better than 10, or 400 are better than 20.
Yeah.
And he was saying that you can walk through the centre of London and you just photograph the whole time you're there. Something like 3,000 cameras in there.
Yeah, and it is a predominance where more people are starting and more businesses are starting to get security cameras now, as well as the council and the government buildings. But the thing that caught my eye was that police are suggesting that they might set up a register for people who have got security cameras, whether you're a business or a homeowner. You will then go on a register so that they can then tap into that for crime fighting, which I think on one level is really good because it will help crime fighting, but on the other level, I've just, and as listeners will probably be aware, I'm very suspicious anytime government's trying to get their hands on more information about us. I personally wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like to be on any register. I don't know why. I don't have an issue per se, and I can't think of why I've got an issue, but I don't trust them, and that's the bottom line. I don't trust them.
I don't understand what a register would do. I mean, if there's a crime committed in the area, surely police would go to homeowners in that area who have security cameras and say, do you mind if we have a look at your vision?
I gather the register is basically going to cut the police's time down by being able to identify these are the places that have got cameras, this is where they are, so we can go straight to those people. Yep. So it's a little bit of a time-saving initiative, I gather. But again, it's Big Brother to me. I don't, and just personally, and our listeners might disagree completely and think it's a great idea, but personally, I just feel very uncomfortable. Any more information the government's got about us, they've got enough already. They know when I go to the toilet every day, I'm sure, just about, so they don't need to know any more.
Too much information. I don't know that would give them access, though, because I mean, you'd have to give express permission, I would have thought, to let them use the vision. Because I mean, you know, a system has like 15 cameras, or 12 cameras, or 4, and there are aspects of that that you don't hand out, and you don't want people to be able to access.
Oh, absolutely. As I said, I just don't trust government per se. I suppose that's just my issue, So maybe they'll then start deciding that we've got to have a fee for anybody who's got security cameras. Like they might
don't give them any ideas.
Like they might have a fee for anybody who's got rainwater tanks, like or solar. Just don't start. So anyway, it's one of those things that good idea. Crime fighting. Big Brother, I'm just not keen. That's all.
Right, I'm in favour of anything that'll track mongrels down who
and I'd
commit crimes in our suburbs.
Yeah, I'd probably like to know whether listeners think that if they've got a home security system, whether they would feel comfortable being on a register, or even if they don't have a system, do they think it's a reasonable ask that people be on a register?
Absolutely. So if you've got some thoughts on that, 13 13 32 our number. If you have home security cameras, would you put them on a register? Tell the police you have them, and then offer material if it's handy. To them.
And look, I probably, if the police came to me and I had a system, which I've got some sort of a system, but if I had a comprehensive system, they came to me and said, hey, we had a crime in this area, can you give us some vision? I probably wouldn't be, against that at all, but I just don't like being on a register.
Okay. 13 13 32 our number, and that is something that I think is probably going to happen in the not too distant future. I don't know about the register, but certainly the access to.
Well, there's a register already in place. Apparently in Cleveland, they're trialling something in Cleveland, and the Gold Coast police are saying that they wouldn't mind trialling something else. So. With the trial, I probably don't understand whether it's just people, it's at their goodwill that they join up, or whether you have to. I can't envisage that they can say to you, "Hey, you've got to be on this register."
The other one that I noticed this week is in relation to our toll roads, where you may soon be able to pay a little extra fee to get there a bit quicker.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
Yeah, look, Transurban, one of the partners apparently in the purchase of most of our tollways in Brisbane now, they operate something similar over in the United States, where you can pay an extra fee to go a little bit quicker in the motorways, in the tollways, and probably I don't probably have a problem with that at all, as long as it's publicised, that heavily publicised, that if you're in lane 1, 2, or 3, that you can go this amount and you will be then charged an extra fee, and if that's better for our traffic issues, I probably don't have an issue with that.
I just can't see how it'd work.
I can't see how it can work either.
Slow cars out of the fast lane.
I can't see how it can work either. And look, I would gather what would happen was if you're in the fast lane and you are a slow car, you will get charged the extra fee even though you're going slow. So I don't understand how it can work.
How would you feel if you're in the fast lane, and you're paying extra, and you get the slow bloke in front of you, and you're still paying?
That's
and
right.
Not going any faster.
So look, there are some issues there, but apparently it does operate overseas. So if it could be brought in and it's reasonable, but I think that apparently with Transurban and this new conglomerate now being in charge of the tolls and the toll systems in Brisbane, I think except for the airport, I think that's the only one that's not part of it. Apparently they might be innovative with their pricing structures, and that might be really good for Queenslanders. So let's see what happens. I suppose the proof will be in the pudding.
It will be. I can't ever see this working though, because I mean we're spending a fortune on the year every year trying to keep people get them to reduce their speed.
I agree. The only thing is that if they are operating it in America like they say they are, and it obviously must be working okay there, however they've got it set up, just might be something to look at. If anything's going to help the flow of traffic, let's go with it and let's have a trial. I've got no dramas with that at all.
I agree. You might have some thoughts, folks. 13 13 32 is our number. The toll network's being sold off for, I think, about $7 billion, wasn't it?
It's a lot of bucks,
and you know,
money. Our listeners might have a view whether they'd be prepared to pay a little bit extra if they could go a little bit quicker and get somewhere a little bit faster and helps the traffic.
Let us know your thoughts. 13 13 32, the number. It's just on 11:15. News Talk 4BC. I understand you've got some info in relation to funding for clubs and associations that happens usually a couple of times a year.
Yeah, normally Sport and Rec have 2 funding rounds a year, and so normally one's about April and one's about September. Apparently, because we obviously do a lot of funding submissions for sporting clubs and recreation clubs. Apparently now there's only going to be 1 funding round. And look, again, this is just gossip that we've just managed to pick up, and it's going to open very shortly. And what it is that there's infrastructure funding available that you can get up to $100,000 if you're a sporting club or a club involved in recreation activities to improve your facilities, clubhouse.
Like what?
Could be upgrading your field, upgrading your lighting.
That's for sporting. What's a recreation? Would that be like a bridge club or something?
Yeah, absolutely. Or it could be like, the local canoe club that, we've done some work for Lake Sampsonvale, I think the canoe club or something out there, where they want to do upgrade some power to get better power to their facilities, and they've got camping grounds out there, so we help them get some money for that. So there's up to $100,000 for the infrastructure, and then there's up to $10,000 for equipment as well. But the thing is that people need to realise if you're going to apply for funding, you've got to get organised early. It's no good waiting for the funding program to come out, be announced, then you've only got 3 weeks to get you organised, because you've got to have, especially if you're going to get some infrastructure money, you need to have plans and things ready to go so that you're ready, and as soon as it hits the deck, you're ready to put in a great submission.
So the work that you do with organisations and clubs, what is it? I mean, how does that work? You put together a submission?
Yeah, we put together all the documents to get the money. Like Gambling Community Benefit Fund and Jupiter's just announced their last round this week.
Yep.
We got, I think, $200,000 for, I think, 13 different clubs and community groups across Queensland, right across Queensland, ranging, I think, from about $6,000 was the smallest that we applied for, up to probably $35,000 through for one of the golf clubs that we would have got a tractor or something. So there's lots of money out there, no matter what community non-profit organisation that you're with. Could be the local, like we got money for Toowoomba Senior Sits to upgrade their roof because their roof was damaged and they needed to improve their roof and get it repaired. So we got money for them out of this round. I think that was $25,000 or something.
Okay, so that, and is that separate to what you're talking about now, or is that the same?
No, that's a different lot of funding altogether. There's so many. There is funding. If you just get out there and look, no matter what community group, there is funding there. I think Mile Park, which is up in Rockhampton, we got them. I think
Mile
20.
Park. What was it?
Yeah. They're involved with the Botanic Gardens up there,
Righto.
and we got them $22,000 to upgrade their kitchen because they needed a better kitchen to, because they have community meetings in the facility, and for people, to also offer. I think they must sell beverages at the garden. So so we got them money for that. So there's lots of money out there if you know where to look.
Where to look. So this sport and rec round is that's state government money.
State government money for sporting and recreation clubs only. So you have to be involved in a recreation activity. Could be mountain biking, could be chess, could be bridge, could be rugby league, AFL, 10-pin bowling, loads of different opportunities. But people just don't realise, they don't look. And then, as I said, normally they wait until the last minute.
Yeah.
Then they go, we've got to apply for this. And they're probably never going to be successful because their project's not mature enough and well thought out enough to be able to access the funding.
And so is that the key to success, is having the submission comprehensive?
Absolutely, and also being know how to pitch it. Like, we had, I think it was one of the golf clubs who wanted to get some funding to improve their financial accounting processes in there.
Yep.
And they come to me and said, look, we want $30,000. I said, look, you're not going to get $30,000 for that, but if we turn this into a project where we're looking at training people coming out from TAFE who are doing a business course, and you're going to then give them experience in the systems, the financial systems in your club, let's talk. That'll be the project, and the money for the software is just as a byproduct. So we turned the project completely around so that it talked about helping these disadvantaged youth in a rural community.
It's got some benefit. It's got some community benefit.
So you've got to know how to pitch your project in the best way that's going to get the funding. So, and I suppose, being an ex-public servant, that's I'm well aware of what they want to hear.
Well, we all know it's a different way of thinking.
It is, and a different way of writing. I always say that it's about, really, it's about writing nonsense, and I'm probably pretty good at writing nonsense. So if I can write nonsense and get, 13 clubs this time, up to over 200 grand all up, that's a great job. And we're helping little clubs as well. We're not helping the big clubs who've got, 100 pokies.
I think it's good.
We're helping little community organisations. And that's, I think I've said this before, grants and tenders are 98% of our business. The lobbying stuff and things that I do for 4BC listeners is a very small part, which I love because, I've got a bit of an ego in beating the government at their own game, I suppose, and being able to outwit them.
Yeah.
But I just love the fact that we help community groups and businesses to win government and contracts and council contracts. That's great.
All good stuff, and no doubt we will have plenty more wins here for 4BC listeners as well.
Betcha. And just remember, we don't charge 4BC listeners. I help them for free, as long as it's not something that's going to take me 10 or 20 hours.
Yeah.
I'm there to try and help you guys, and so if you've got an issue that you want some help with, let me know.
Righto. Well, 13 13 32 is our number, and you'll be back next Sunday.
Yep, and then Wednesday night with Walter Williams at 10 o'clock.
Good stuff. All right, mate, good to talk as always.
Good on you, mate, and Manly will have a win this afternoon.
I was waiting for that. Good on you.
Good on you, mate.
See you, mate.
Thank you. Bye.
Shane Bowering from Red Tape Busters in on a Sunday morning.